Thank you for tuning in to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. Whether you're listening during your commute, while working out, or just relaxing at home, we appreciate you. Every download, every listen, and every subscription means a lot. Thank you for being part of the 12 Kyle podcast community. Stay tuned for another episode. This is the 12 Kyle podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading, and thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I am your boy 12 Kyle. Man, check this out. On this episode, we got some family in the building. We are going to talk about keeping a guy. Fellas, you want to grab your pen and pad and take notes. We're going to talk about some qualities that if you have, you just may be able to be kept by some of these ladies out here. And when I thought about this episode, I couldn't think of any other two people that I would rather have on here but my podcast cousins. It's been a minute since they've been on. Their podcast, the We Did That Shit podcast, is on a hiatus, if you will. Hopefully, fingers crossed, this episode will kind of nudge them back into the recording mode. But first up, let me introduce our guest from the We Did That Shit podcast. My first guest is one half of the We Did That Shit podcast. She's a mother. She's an entrepreneur. My girl, Bibbi, is in the building. Bibbi, what up?
What's up, podcast cousin?
What's happening?
Life is lifing.
That's what they say.
That's exactly what's happening. Yes.
And I would be remiss if I did not introduce the other half. She's also a fellow podcaster, been on here several times, as they both have. My girl Mya is in the building. Mya, what's good?
What's going on, Kyle? You know I can't stop smiling when I'm on your podcast. I feel like we are like in the presence of a celebrity almost. So it just puts a smile on my face that we are back on the 12 Kyle podcast.
The check will be there on Monday.
She just can't help it, Kyle.
The check will be there on Monday. If you're watching YouTube, you notice that I don't have a shirt. They have shirts. They have paraphernalia. They do have a podcast. Like I said, it's on hiatus. It's called the We Did That Shit podcast. A very, very dope podcast. It was a part of my Monday routine, and it's sorely being missed. But again, I'm glad to have them back on. We've done several episodes before, and this one's going to be fun. So before we even get started, let's kind of go back a little bit. We talked about it a little bit before we started recording. What have you guys been up to since, the last episodes of before your break, if you will?
Ooh. You want to go first?
Yeah, Bibbi, you can go first.
I don't know. There's just a lot going on. Our last recording, and I don't even know if we posted it. I was talking about the things going on with my house, how the mortgage company tried to steal my house. I set them straight. But I got all that taken care of. And I also have another very large lawsuit that I'm currently fighting. And, I thought about going to law school a lot of times, but it's just a lot of money. I'm getting older. Do I want to do that? But I'm good at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good at it. And I like it, but it's a fight and it takes a long time. So hopefully when everything settles, I'll be able to talk about it in the podcast. And I think it is something that will help a lot of people. I just don't like people to bully people. So I'm very passionate about some things and I'm not giving up. So that's kind of where it is.
Okay. You said that before. You don't like bullies.
Not at all.
Don't bully people, because I don't like people to take advantage of people. And there's just a lot of people, especially with that mortgage situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many people lose their homes because of nonsense stuff of no fault of their own, and these mortgage companies do simple stuff and they don't know who to call, or that they have rights and stuff like that, or they think they have to pay a lawyer all kinds of money. So those kind of things, I'm very passionate about those things. And, people no, and the ones who know, they call, they take advantage, but it's whatever. I can't help but to help
I know that's right.
somebody.
What about you, Maya? What you been up to?
Since the last time that we have put out a podcast, life is always lifing.
Mm-hmm.
We took a hiatus in the beginning because I lost my parents. And then thinking that you're ready to come back and record, you think like, oh, this is going to be therapy and things like that. And then it just got to be too much. And at the end of the day, I just realized I had to heal in a certain type of way before you put your efforts back, because we like to put out a good product. You know what I'm saying? We think we're funny and informative and all of those good things. And so you don't want to be on every episode like, I'm real tired, I was real low. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, we needed to take the other part of the hiatus. But I think that the podcast will be coming back soon. I know we said that the last time,
But
but
you did bring it back the last time.
Yeah.
but then we said it again, and then we said it was the hiatus. But you know what? Nothing makes us come back more than recording.
And seeing you. Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
true.
I appreciate that.
You give us the bug back because
I appreciate that.
It's like,
And,
oh,
and
girl,
like I
let's
said,
bring it back.
I miss y'all because, like I said, y'all are part of my Monday rotation. So it's just, and I mean, for those of you listening, watching, we still stay in communication. So it's
Right.
not like like this is the first time I've seen him or talked to him. But it's just like when you're a fan and you listen, you get in the habit of listening on certain days. So the podcast will drop Monday mornings. And like, so now, like, I literally have nothing to listen to on Monday mornings. Like, I'll be trying to find stuff to listen to. But yeah, it's in due time. Whenever you guys are, like I told y'all via text, whenever you're ready, your people will always be here. So
Yeah.
And plus, you also have a catalog. So, and the great thing about your podcast is that it's not dated. So for people who listen now who are interested in what you guys have to say, trust me, they got a whole catalog that you can go back and listen to and still get the same vibe and the same love. So again, I thank y'all for coming through. This is
well, Kyle, you keep your check because that was good.
Right.
You keep that check. All right now.
Oh Lord. So we're gonna talk about men. You guys are dating and have dated. Full disclosure, Bibbi was in nuptials at one point many years ago. And so I like I said, I came across this article and it talked about keeping a man and the qualities that, because we always as men, we want to know what it's going to take. What should we be bringing to the table, right? So the first one is the first quality. I think is pretty obvious, but you guys tell me. And Bibbi, I'll start with you first. If he's smart, like I would think that that's a no brainer. But what level does his intelligence play into whether or not you could keep him around?
First I'll say stay in your lane. Know your levels. know your levels. I am a sapiosexual myself. I love intelligence. I love to learn.
Wait. Say that again.
A sapiosexual?
I thought you said Sagittarius. Because we're Sagittarius, so I was trying to figure that out.
That too.
Okay.
And Maya has taught me that almost everything you hear about Sagittarian, I was like, where did you get this from? This is crazy. But it is me. But I am really turned on by intelligence. I think that if someone can teach me something, I'm all in. I'm like, you can hold I don't even have to like you, really. If you can hold my attention, if you have a certain level of intelligence and you can teach me something, not in a way that like you're not annoying or degrading or condescending, things like that. But yeah, very sexy for me.
What about you, Maya?
I think intelligence plays a big role, but for me, you have to be smart in all areas. So, like, I gravitate more to common sense than if you are, like if you have a PhD. So to me, if you have common sense, street smarts, it can come in a lot of different ways, but that resonates more with me than just book smart intelligence. Now, granted, I want you to be smart. I mean, no 1 + 1 = 2,
Right.
know your ABCs. So, but it doesn't feed me, as if you will, for you to be so highly intelligent that you lack common sense. That would be more of a smart that I would want you to have more than book intelligence. But being smart definitely is important.
And when we speak of smarts, fellas, we're not talking about like smart Alex either. Like, a good sense of humor is one thing, but I mean, like, you can't be a smart ass.
Like all the time.
Right. What about as far as the ability to, and I'll start with you, Mya, make you laugh? I know, like, there was always a saying that one of the ways to a woman's heart is to make her laugh. While I don't find myself to be funny, I like to laugh.
Mm.
And I think, when I met my wife, I think when we first started dating, she would laugh all the time. Like I was like Richard Pryor around her. Like, and I was like,
that's how you
and I just told myself, like, why is she laughing so much? Like, I ain't that damn funny. But then I realized I was kind of funny to her. So, but like the ability to make you laugh, how important is that?
Oh, for me, that's everything. Okay. And it's not the way to your heart. Now, if you want to get a woman's pants off, make her laugh. You can literally be a guy that walks in, has nothing. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about for me, but I'm just saying in general. You could be a guy that walks in, has nothing, a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. But if you can make a woman laugh, you have that woman. For me, I love to laugh, and I laugh at everything. So too much. I laugh at now. I laugh at. You could be the worst comedian in the world. I will give you a laugh. It could be the worst thing in the world, and I will laugh through that too. I don't know what it is about me and laughter. So laughter means everything, fellas. If you take nothing from this conversation, take the fact that work on your jokes. Now, I don't mean knock jokes. It has to be organic. You can't be coming in talking about knock, who's there, the rabbit. You can't do that. But you have to, you have to be jovial. You have to get to a woman's spirit, and nothing does that faster than making her laugh.
What about you, Bibbi?
I don't.
Why are you laughing, Mya?
Right. This is what she does. I'm telling you. I will say this. It is important to not take yourself so seriously. It's not like you have to be on the stage and always on trying to, like Richard Pryor, make me laugh. But when things happen, it's important not to take life so seriously. But in getting to know someone, now when you're young, you and Cherise were in college when you met, and that's great. When you're young, I think that's all fun. My ex-husband and I, we have children. Our son has special needs, so we still have to communicate. We still can laugh about a lot of things, and I think that's important. However, at this age, I feel like sometimes you have to look past the smoke screen. Are you silly like all the time? Like, because it's like, all right, now sometimes you gotta get some things done,
right?
And then sometimes it's a smoke screen. Like, are you smart, or you just keep making me laugh? You know what I mean? Like that, because laughter will get you in. So, but it's something that you have to watch for.
Have you ever
caught up in the chuckles?
Have either of you, and that lead me to another question. Have either of you ever come across guys that like you're getting to know them, and like you realize that the comedy part is just all that they bring? Like they're never serious about anything.
Yes. Yes. You run into that a lot, because all the time. I think that men do know that if you can make a woman laugh, like I said, you can get her pants off, So yeah, you're always bringing that comic relief, and like the B said, it's all well and good, but do you have the ability to be serious as well? And that's why I said you can't come in with like a knock joke. It has to be organic. You know what I mean? It just has to be who you are. But I will say this: if a woman likes you, You the funniest damn thing since sliced bread, and that's just that, and that's why your wife was laughing so hard. It wasn't that you was that funny. You probably ain't say half of nothing that was funny, but to her it was like, because
Right.
You know what? I'm going to ask her when
because
we finish this podcast. I'm going to ask her.
And I'm gonna tell you who's the king of comedy when it comes to getting chicks is Jiggy.
yes,
Really?
Oh, Jiggy has game, and
Mhm.
Jiggy got chicks. And I mean, we will be somewhere. He won't talk to no man, but he will walk up to a woman, even if she on your arm, and be
Mhm.
like, "How you doing?
Mhm.
You ever see Medea? You think she's funny?" And he'll start doing Medea stuff, all kinds of stuff. He
Wow.
will have, and as soon as they start laughing, he pull up a chair.
Got him.
Your son is off the chain. That's funny. That
Yes,
is funny. So he's realized
he
that
be
already.
having chicks cracking up. Yes,
That is funny. That is so funny. So he's realized that at a pretty much young age.
yes.
The next question I have for you guys, and Bibbi, I'll start with you. Both of you are very, very career driven. I mentioned earlier, entrepreneurs. The podcast is only a small piece of what both of you do, outside of just, your regular jobs and stuff like that. Both of you are very passionate. How important is it for a guy to support your career?
I just had not a date on Saturday.
Did you?
It wasn't a date. It was
Yeah.
not a
Okay.
date.
Yeah. What is not a date?
Yeah, because and why don't I know about this?
You do know about my not a date
Who was that with?
last Saturday.
We'll talk about that off the podcast. I can't recall.
I had a not a date on last Saturday, and he asked me, which makes me feel like it was a date. He asked me, like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now, 10 years from now? I don't recall it was 5 or 10 years. And I
Mhm.
said, a rich housewife. And he was like, no way. But the thing is that a lot of times with women, no matter how driven they are, how smart they are, their ideas, I know I'm very self aware and I am a supporter. I am a great assistant. And I always thought, like, for me, marriage meant partnership, always, since I was very, very young. So in a relationship, I'm looking for partnership. So there's been in my marriage, I didn't see partnership because my husband didn't have drive,
Mm.
and I didn't see that changing, and it hasn't. And I just am not a partner for that type of person. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
support is important on both sides. It is important on both sides, but I feel in a marriage it's more in, like, my husband has a goal and it's my job to get them there.
Mm.
That's just how I see myself now, and I can still do my things, and it's important that I still have my things, but that's kind of like my job for him. Like, I've been in relationship with people that I did not like much, and other people didn't like them either, but in the relationship, what I grieved most from the relationship was the progress, because we did so much. And
Mhm.
so, it's very important to be supportive both ways, but I could get my things done, and it makes me happy to help someone else get their stuff done.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Maya?
I think that in today's times, it's important. And the reason why I say that is because you have a lot of women these days that are making more money, in general, but specifically than the man that they're dating. I can speak for myself. I am more drawn to blue collared men, which sometimes poses that I make more than them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important because I want them to be supportive of the fact that they are confident that they can still lead and be the man of the relationship whether I'm making more or less or we're making the same. So that's the reason why it would be important to me. And you know, like, you don't want anybody that's not supportive in anything that you do. Right. So I don't care what it is that I do. I want you to be supportive of it. But I'm not career driven to the point where if you made a lot of money, I couldn't stay home. You know, like I would still do something always to make money, to have my own money. But I don't like work enough to be like, no, it's all about my career. I have to go out and get it. Like, I mean, come on. I would retire tomorrow if I could. You know what I mean? I think that as you grow and you see what life has to offer, you know that work isn't everything. Now, for me, I'm not a work person. I'm a money person, right? So it's like, if I could make money
and not work,
I surely wouldn't. You know what I mean? So, but I want you to be supportive, just more so, especially in my dating life, because I've run into men that I make more than, and it's like, it doesn't matter to me, and I don't want it to matter to you. You know, because we can do it together, and you'll still be the leader, because I'm never going to be with somebody that is not the leader, no matter if you make. Well, you can't make $0 now. I don't want to. I was going to say that even if you make $0, but then I would be lying, and I would be lying about that. But if you make less, you know,
right?
So yes, I think that it's important if someone supports you in your career.
And I think, you know, you both made some great points, and just to piggyback on it, like, so if, let's say, the guy, he's 45 and he has this aspiration to be a rapper at 45. Can you support? Look at Bibbi. Can you support that?
No. And that's clear. That's not even a thought. And I'm not even trying to make myself sound like, you know what? Yes, I can, because you know how women want to make themselves sound like I can support you through anything. I can't. Right. I can't.
And let me be clear. And I'm no shade to anybody. No shade to anybody. You know, be on your level, get your grind. But at this big age, if you are trying to be shift manager, you know, yeah.
Can't do
it. Crew chief. I don't know. I can't. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
I would be the same way. Yeah. I would be the same way. And I would think, like, you know, you would want to, you know, strive for a little bit more. And everybody has different goals, and maybe our goals just don't align. Now, one of the great things, and for those of you, if you followed us, the thing that you know about these two ladies is that they're cousins, but they really are sisters, right? So family means everything to them. They are, y'all still talk every day, right?
Yes, every day, several times a day.
So Bibbi, I'll ask you first. How important is it if he makes as much effort with your friends and your family as you do with his?
Let me see. Because I'm just off of Set 'em Free Street.
Set 'em Free Street.
What? Set 'em Free. That's what we'll call them for the sake of this podcast. Set 'em Free. Set 'em Free said two things to me that just was like, I don't know about you. One thing he said was he met Mya, because Mya was with me when we met.
Okay.
And so, and Mya kind of like gave him a little umption to like ask for my phone number or whatever. But
he bamboozled me, Kyle. And I don't
She's shaking her head.
I don't get bamboozled easily. But go ahead.
Okay.
He got a little gumption from Mya to ask for my number, whatever. Two things that he said that troubled me. One was, you know, when he met Mya, he was like, I don't need to meet anybody else, you know, like that's just it, whatever. And I don't have many friends, but I do have a best friend, and we've been best friends since second grade.
Okay.
So, and he was like, well, you know, I don't, I don't need to meet all your friends all at once or whatever. Like, first of all, you don't need to be dating my friends right now. I don't even know you. And then another thing he said to me was that he hadn't talked to his family. And like he didn't talk to a brother in 2 years. And I was like, yeah, no, that is sus. I was like, okay. And to me, when Mya and I talk, and but when we have other things, we may not talk as much, but we're going to get the time in because we are a family like that. And it's not just Mya, it's more of us. And we talk to each other all the time. So it is a kind of thing where we're very close. Some people that are not used to it are like uncomfortable at first, but they either get with it, and the people who don't, you're suspects. Like, what is wrong with you that we can't talk to our family? And Mya is like the biggest one. Like, oh, he don't want you to be around your family. Oh, he don't want you to talk to your family. Oh, no, that's abusey. I don't, So we, yeah, we are very, very.
That's a sign.
Yes. Yes, we're very, very cognizant of those type things. So you either have to, like, everybody gets their attention. It's okay, I respect this relationship. You respect the family. I respect your family. It's going to be okay. Just chill. It's going to be okay. So,
What about you, Mya?
What was the question again?
The fact that whether or not he will, support and be around you and your family and your friends, and how important that actually is.
I think that it's important because, like the B said, like you said, we're cousins. And, we function more as all of our family, all of the cousins. We function more as like brother, sister than cousins. And like with my own brother and sister, I'm like obsessed with them. You know what I'm saying? I am obsessed with family. So I think that is very important. But what I will say is this. Now, I wouldn't want to be with someone that wouldn't want to be around my family. However, I feel, see, it's a catch-22 with me, because on the one hand, I like to keep my romantic life over here, and I like to keep my family over here, and I don't really like to mix the two. And it's really because when I'm with my family, I want to be with my family. I don't want to have to worry about if you're okay. You want some water, because I'm a catering type of person, right? So I don't want to be like, you want some water, you want a plate, you all right, you know what I'm saying? When I want my family, I just want to be with my family. I want to let loose, I want to whatever. And I'm not going to be with someone that I can't be like that around either. However, like, I don't really want to worry about you. You know what I mean? I really want to just worry about me with my family. However, I wouldn't want to be with anyone who was like, oh, I don't want you around your family, because to me, that is a tell sign that you are going to be punching me in my face later on in this relationship. If you are trying to keep me away from the people, I'm telling you, if you are trying to keep me away from the people that are the most valuable in my life, and I don't even know if you're going to be valuable in my life, or even if you become one of the most valuable people in my life and you don't want me to be around my family. So I think it's important. Now, I will say I'm not like a big proponent of you have to be around all of my friends. Like my friends, I feel like you might not never see these people. And I have a lot of friends, but you might not never see. You might see them every now and again, because like I'm just not into like, oh yeah, me and you, girl, we about to do this, and then my man gonna come, and that's not an insecurity. Or what I'm saying is, it's not an insecurity or anything.
Right.
It's just really like what I said. I like to be with my friends. We're doing our thing, and then when I'm with you, boo, I'm with you. Like I'm not. I don't know. I'm weird like that. I'm just like, I'm weird like that. But to answer your question for the sake of the podcast, it is very important. Never be with someone, and if he doesn't want to be involved, then he is not a keeper. He is a keeper if he wants to be involved. And like my mother used to always say, you don't have to like them, but you have to respect them. So you might not like my family. That's okay. My family might not like you, but you have to respect either side.
Mm-hmm. So that leads me to another question. So how do you balance that? Because again, y'all are super tight. One of the things that I noticed when we first linked up was like the two of you remind me of me and my cousin Eric, who is 9 months younger than me. Who anytime I got in trouble, he was right there with me getting in trouble. And if you followed podcasts, he's right there at the time I shot the gun in the house and lied
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so y'all are so y'all remind me of us. And and from us being associated on social media and stuff, I see the posts, I see the family gatherings, the Thanksgivings and everything like that. So how do you balance that? Because like there could be a guy and he might be the guy and he's like, yeah, you go on with your family, or he feels or even worse, feels somewhat intimidated by the closeness.
Then he's not the guy.
He's not the
Period.
guy.
Okay.
He's
He's
not
not the
the
guy.
guy. You can't be
Okay.
the guy and then what my family means to me and you like, oh yeah, go ahead and go with your family. And another thing is this, like, let's be real. We are likable people. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
we are
Very
a
much so.
likable family. One thing I will say about our family, and I'm not just saying this because I'm in the family, we don't if we like you, we like you. If we don't, we don't. However, we don't make you feel like we're not sitting around when you bring somebody. It's not like, well, what you doing? Where you at? Who are you? Questioning. We let you be you. We sit back and observe who you are, and then we
Mm-hmm.
make our assessment from there. We haven't really had a lot of people who have come around that said, I don't like your family. Now, like Bibbi said, some people are intimidated at the fact that we are so close. So we do everything together, right? So it's like, oh, you broke your tooth? Let's get together, get some
Right.
food. Let's be a family. You want to watch the game? Let's get together, And so a person may feel like, damn, you always with your family. You're right,
Right.
because I like them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you better get down and lay down, like Beanie Siegel said, in state
But that's the way
property.
it's supposed to be, though.
Right.
We're
It
supposed to be
is.
with our families.
We
Right.
are all we
You
got.
are.
We are all
Right.
we got. And the truth is, Kyle, when people do come around our family, we can't get rid of them.
Exactly.
People, they were like, oh no, can I come? And I'm part of this. Like, we cannot get rid of people. So people will hang on to us or whoever the person is just so that they can continue. Oh, is your family going?
Right.
Oh, are y'all going here? Because we can't get rid of these people.
But that's a good thing.
And I think that you balance it just by you can have you have to have, it's just like everything, right? Like say we all go on vacation together. We all do everything on vacation together, right? So we wake up, we have breakfast together, we go to the pool together, we go to lunch together, we go to dinner together. But you do have couples in the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who leave out of the group and they go and they have their separate time. So I think you balance it by just because it is important to cultivate all of your relationships. So you have to be able to balance it and you just do. It's just something that you do, like I'm dating someone right now. Now, I've never told you that I was dating somebody, right?
I don't think I've ever heard you mention that on a podcast.
I listen, because y'all know I keep my stuff. I'm a private person,
This
right?
is breaking news.
I'm just a private person. But for the sake of this conversation, I'm bringing up the fact that I'm dating someone. And so he has not met the family yet, right? But I talk about the family so much that he's like anticipating meeting the family. And for the first time in, how old am I? For the first time in, I don't even know how, the first time in, I don't even know how many years, I am like excited to bring someone around because I like him and I think that he'll fit with the family, he'll fit with the family and I guess it's time. So, I guess it's important for family. It's important if you're going to go forth in my life, that you have to meet the most important people in my life. Now, that's breaking news. No, but he has talked to her because he had to. She had to talk me off the ledge about something, and he was like, "Call your cousin," because
wow. I can't understate this for people listening. Like, all the years that we did that shit, we don't know who Maya dated, but she never admitted to dating anybody on the podcast.
Ever.
You
I
know,
can't even believe she
Never.
said it now
Never.
because
I haven't missed an episode. I don't ever recall you ever mentioned. Now you've mentioned guys in a roundabout way, but you've never said,
yeah,
"Hey, I'm dating this guy."
yes, never.
So we
You
got to
you
bring a
are
new
guess
one
what,
correct,
here.
Kyle?
Kyle.
Guess what? You got the first exclusive, and I'll say, and I'll say this. And
I
guess what?
appreciate it.
And guess what? I am laughing my ass off.
I appreciate the exclusive. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Well, that's good. That's good. I'm sure. I'm sure they'll like it. I'm sure they'll like it. But the next question, I'll start with you. Uh, there seems to be a knock, at least amongst men, about being too emotional, like being too high or too low. Um, can he be a keeper if he's too emotional for you? Whatever you deemed too emotional to be.
I'm glad you asked this, Kyle. I'm growing as a person.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that I am realizing as I'm growing as a person is just as much as women need their girls, men need men.
Mm.
So I would just prefer, when I'm with somebody, and I mean, if I'm with you, if
Mhm.
you are with somebody, if a person can't be vulnerable around you, then you're not with that person. So I'm not going to judge someone, for their vulnerabilities. And there's ways that you can be vulnerable without looking weak, without looking weak. No, I just, I think I can speak for all women, the weakness is not attractive at all.
Right.
And then there are some things that maybe you should save for your boys.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And if you don't have those type of men in your life that you can be vulnerable with or whatever, then you need to probably get some or, go to the next step, like maybe a parent or a sibling. But I think it is important now more than ever for men to stop trying to hold the world on their shoulders and put on fronts and just be who they are and get support from people who they know is supportive of them and look at their relationships in terms of what is going to be beneficial to my life, and that is all relationships. Like, if you just trying to get it in real fast or whatever, nothing invested, whatever, and you're consenting, that's fine. But when you're looking at someone because you're attracted to them and you think you're ready to settle down and things like that, those are the kind of things that you need to look for in that person. Am I safe with that person? And because when I hear stories about things happening in relationships and stuff like that, like Maya says I'm crazy, but I don't think I'm crazy at all. But when I hear stories and people come to me with a story, and I will say, especially like if you've been married a year or two, whatever, and in our stage of life, and I'm saying, they was like, "Can you believe she did that?" And I was like, "Remember when you were dating and you told me
Mhm.
this happened, that happened?" Because, and then people keep looking past these things. I
Yeah.
don't think they're crazy, but I think people look past things and see what they want to see. So yes, be with somebody that you can be vulnerable with. That is very important. And if you can't be vulnerable, or it's like when it's new and you don't know how it's going to be, get yourself a group of boys or somebody that you can let it out. We want our men to be strong, but no one can carry the weight of the world on their shoulder. No one.
Facts. Facts.
Yeah.
That is so true. What about you, Maya?
The sure answer is no. I don't want you to be overly emotional in be a keeper. And this is the reason why I'm saying that. I I don't want it to be like I don't want you to have emotion. No. Have emotion because as Bibbi just explained, you need to be vulnerable and you want someone to be that way with you. But I think that men that are overly emotional are dangerous.
Mm.
I it's much like don't be around your family. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you are too emotional, you're coming in the door, you're crying every 5 minutes and shit. What is going on? You know, I don't think that you need to be in a relationship if you're that damn emotional.
Exactly.
Now, you know, if your dog died and you're like overly emotional about it because, you know, Roscoe was in your life for 15
Mm-hmm.
years, cry. You know what I mean? But if you are just overly emotional, I just think that that breeds danger for a man, you know. And I think, well, I'll say, you know, on both ends, but we're talking about a keeper in, you know, men that are too emotional don't have the stability that you need really to be in a relationship with. That's just for me. You know, I think that men that are too emotional are angry, you know.
Mm.
And so I think that it, you know, that question is kind of like,
Loaded.
it can go a
It
couple of
is, yeah.
ways because what emotion are we talking about, you know? But if I had to just give you an answer right now, I would say no. I don't want someone that's overly emotional. I also don't want someone that's holding in everything. Be able to let it out, you know what I'm saying? And as Bibbi said, if you can't let it out with me in a certain way, have someone that you can let it out with. But I no, don't be too emotional. And you know, this is for me. I can't speak for nobody else. I just got to be real for myself. If you are sitting around and you crying at every damn movie and everything we doing, you like, yeah, so sensitive about it. You know, eventually I'm gonna be looking over at you like, what the heck is going on? Like, who are you and what is happening? You know, I can't hold this fort together. I can't be strong for the both of us all the time. And
Right.
I mean, and I'm just
That's
saying,
true.
you know, like, you know, like, you know, I didn't grow up watching men just like
Right, right.
cry for no reason. And so I think that, you know, in today's time, when I think about life, it's like, oh, it's so great that men are like, you know, black men and mental health and all of these things. I think that is wonderful. But like, how in tuned are you to your emotions? Like,
Right.
that I'm going to start looking at you like, if we outside, are you going to start crying? Like, if I do bring you around my family or my friends, I'm just saying.
You know, it's a balance. Just like anything else, it's a balance. I will speak for the men on this particular topic. I think it's the one thing I learned, or one of the many things I learned in the pandemic was it's important for us to, as men, to have that outlet. Like I remember, like me and my crew, we started doing this conference call. Like we're in a group chat, so we text every day. So it's jokes, it's laughs, it's talking about women, it's talking about our families, it's talking about sports, it's whatever, rap music. It's about regular guy stuff, if you will. But then we started doing a call, like on a Zoom call, and one of my partners, he said he wanted to kind of tap in because he was going to therapy and he was like worrying about our mental health, because at the time we're not moving around like we were before because of COVID and everything like that. And he said, he said something that stuck out to me. He said, we always, when someone asks how we're doing, we'll say, yeah, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good. That's the default answer. I'm good. Like, no, I'm not good. No, I'm worried about whether or not I can, keep my mortgage, or I can keep this job, or I'm worried about if I can keep this woman, if I can keep these kids in school. I'm worried about all of these things. So, that was something that I think, really kind of got us to talk about our emotions and stuff. But and we did it as a crew, so
Right.
I thought that was good. But I hadn't really thought about it like that until he said it. He's like, yeah, he's like, our default is I'm good, because if you tell him, hey, I'm having a bad day,
Right.
a lot of guys gonna look at you like, bad day,
Suck it up. Yeah.
man
Mm-hmm.
up, man up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm with you. Being emotional is okay. It's how you handle those emotions and which emotions you're
Right.
talking about. Um, Being overly sensitive, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I just think there's a time and a place for most things. like you said, Maya, I don't expect you to be outside looking at dogs and you just start crying all of a sudden now.
Yeah, and I mean overly emotional. I just don't like the way that sounds, overly emotional. And I think also it has to do with me as a person as well, because I'm not overly emotional, right? So because I'm not overly emotional when it presents in other people, I probably am more like, what the heck's going on? And that and you know and but in the way that you just explained it, yes, that makes sense. Brothers checking in with brothers.
Yeah, we got
Brothers
to.
checking. My brother calls me all the time to vent or to talk about things, and he's emotional about stuff. Even the person that I'm dating, he had a moment not long ago where he was expressing some things to me and he was very emotional about it, and not necessarily crying, but just, getting it out, because we are becoming each other's safe space, right? So that I don't have a problem with. However, it's a certain type of emotion that I think men express that can become dangerous, and dangerous to the point where they take it out on the person that is closest to them,
Yes.
which is the person that they're dating, right? Or women getting the brunt of whatever. So I think that, it's like I said, with me, everything is kind of like I don't know, because what kind of emotion are we talking about?
Right.
But I don't want people to listen to this and be like, damn, she hardcore, you can't even have no emotion. You can, but check some of it, boo.
Right. My next question, I'll throw it back to you, Maya. I know we talked about, we kind of touched on a little bit as far as like respect. How important is it that he respects your opinion, not necessarily agreeing, because we don't all have to agree, right? But respecting your opinion and listening to what you have to say.
Yes, everything. Respect for me is everything. If you don't get anything else out of anything that I said out of this podcast, know that respect is everything. I'm not a person who follows astrology to the T, but if I had to follow astrology, I am a Capricorn, and the first thing that you read about a Capricorn is respect. We demand it and we give it. And it is so important for a person that you are with to respect you and for you to respect that person. If I couldn't respect the person, I would not be in a relationship with them. As soon as I lose respect for you, it is everything skeets right on out of you. I don't, skeet probably sounds crazy, but I'm just saying,
Hey,
everything skeet
can I say
probably sounds
pause?
like, what is going on?
No,
This is a family show, but I don't mean it in that way. But everything goes away when you talk about losing the respect for someone. So for a
yes.
person to respect what I'm saying, in my opinion, means the world. Why would you want to be with someone who did not respect what it was that you're saying? We all have differences. We're not always going to agree on everything. But as long as you can respect what it is that I bring to the table, and I can respect what it is that you bring to the table, I hate to keep saying, because, I'm dating someone, because now that I done said it, it's like, I got to
It's
keep
out there
saying
now.
it. But I'm dating someone who is a different religion than me. And while it's not for everybody, the biggest thing for us is you have to respect my religion and I have to respect your religion. He goes through things in his religion that that I don't, as a Christian or what have you. I respect it. And as long as we have that boundary, we can get through anything. So I think that it's 100% the thing. It's the first thing for me. Not
Okay.
looks, not money, not being smart, not anything. Respect is the first thing.
What about you, Bibbi? Him respecting you and listening to you.
Now you're gonna add listening.
I said listen the first time.
Um,
I said it.
so respect is everything. Nothing moves forward without respect, and it has to be a mutual respect. And with that comes consideration.
Mm-hmm.
And in all of that, in today's times, you have to, people were not raised the same.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
People were not taught the same.
Mm.
People have had very different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes things, Maya spoke earlier about common sense. Like everything is not common to everyone in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So while respect is very, very important, this is another reason it goes back to being emotional, because sometimes people don't realize that they're being disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to check them, like, you do. You have, and
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
check them. You have to check them quickly, and it has to
Mm-hmm.
be firm and clear.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get past that, then the respect continues. But a lot of times people aren't able to get past, and they don't even feel like it's disrespect. So yes, respect is, you can't go anywhere. You can't do anything in life. Whatever relationship you are, love relationship, siblings, cousins, anything, you have to respect the
Mm-hmm.
other person. You just have to.
1000%.
Yes. And it's better if you don't have to teach it.
That part. Um, last quality, but B, I'll throw it back to you. You guys, the two of you, have done a lot. We mentioned a little earlier, career wise. But I think it's very important that you don't like wear that with a badge of honor. You do your thing, right? So, and you want to be recognized for that. But for a guy, how if he's going to be a keeper, how important is it that he also celebrates in your achievements, whether or not you went back to school or you got a new job or you showed up to work on time?
That's the dig. But you know what? I'll take, I mean, you know.
So how important is that?
Um, I think it's very important. And one of the things that is mandatory for me is that you have to love me for me.
Mm.
You have to love me for me. And on my not date person doesn't know me very well. We've had some conversations, some interactions, and things like that. But he knows me well enough that when I said, "Oh, a rich housewife," he was like, "What?" Like, I can't even believe that. So he sees something different. So, and for him, seems like work. Like, oh my gosh, that's just a lot of work. But you're not my person, because for
Mm.
my person, it's not a lot of work. So you have to love me for me. And when you love me for me, if you know me, then you know that, one, it's not a lot of work. Two, there'll be a lot of things to celebrate on, both mine and yours, because I'm going to also, encourage you and push you to do things. And three, I love a reason to celebrate and take a trip. So,
Right.
this is just, this is just
Ain't that the truth?
this is just what it's going to be, what it's going to be for us. So it is very important. And with that comes confidence. I am very self aware. I know who I am. And this is me unapologetically. And if you need to be you unapologetically and not harsh, and just, be you and with confidence. Like, there's only one you. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
come to the celebration.
Mhm.
That's just how I feel about it. So that's very important. Yeah.
What about you, Maya?
Well, yes, it's important because if you're not celebrating me or my wins, then what are you, jealous of me and my wins? And you have to be very careful of that in a relationship. If you get a man and he is not celebrating your victories or and I mean from small to big, because, I don't want to get off into that, oh, because we as women do this and men do this, but women, we pack, you a man, Kyle. We
Mhm.
got to boost your ego. We got, you good, baby,
You ain't
you
got to
done
boost
did
mine.
good, you did this, and you did that, did that. all men like that. You know, even if it's like, oh, you don't have to stroke my ego. Everybody wants to hear that they're doing well, or you know, that they are appreciated, and that's more of the bigger thing. It's about appreciation, you know. So if you're not celebrating who I am, what I do, you know, that goes back to what I said about like a man being confident enough where if I make more than you, it's not a big thing, right? Because you're still the leader. So if you're not celebrating what it is that I'm doing and what it is that I'm achieving, then what are you doing? You're sitting back and you're like, what? Like, and why would you want to be with someone that you're not celebrating what it is that they're achieving and what they're bringing to the table? Because when you're looking at the grand scheme of life, and if you're going to be with this person, right? Y'all winning together. If I win, you win. If you win, I win. You know what I'm saying? Now your money is my money, and my money is my money. But you know,
see how she threw that in there?
Yes, it's
together,
true.
baby, we
It's
got
true.
it all in the pot.
It's true.
And so if I'm doing it, then we're doing it, right? And again, to me, a man that can't celebrate you or anything that you're accomplishing is jealous of you, and never be with that. And you can see that early on, because one thing about a jealous person, they can't hide that but for so long. You know what I'm saying? Now, I come home and I say, oh man, I got a bonus at work. I ain't probably gonna tell you I got a bonus. But if I come home and I say, you know,
that's the truth.
I was on time today, and you know, I want you to be like, damn, babe, good, you did that, because as our podcast said, you know, we did that shit. I want you to be like, you did that, because if not, then what? You know, and again, why would you want to be with someone that you're not celebrating? That's kind of like backwards.
That is so true.
Important.
It is, and I never needed the pats on the back or the attaboys, but you know, it's always feel good to hear. But no, I was telling somebody the other day, I definitely
now wait a minute.
She's right, because I was thinking about it.
I don't mean to cut you. I don't mean to cut you off. But I ain't never heard no man, the best or the worst, say, "Oh, you know, I never needed the pats on the back." You might not need your ego stroke like some people do. Some people need to hear it. Like, I always say this, and this is no shade. I am not trying to be offensive at all, right? Not at all. But I always say men are like little dogs, right? Not like dogs, like you a dog, you sleep around, but little dogs, like, you know, dogs, you be like, come on, boo, you did good. Come get a little treat. You know what I'm saying? So I always be like, men need a little treat. You know what I'm saying? From the person that you want it from. You might not need your ego stroked all the time. You're not a man that needs to go outside and hear like, oh, hey, handsome, how you doing today? And all of that. But you want your wife to say, you did good, babe. Oh, you got that promotion. Oh, you did this. Oh, you a good father. Look at you. I love you. You my baby. Come on. Little treat. So don't sit here and say, I was, you know, I've never been a man that needed that. All of y'all need it.
Okay.
Because we all need it.
And you notice, because how many times have you said, in college, Sharice laughed at all my jokes. That's your treat. That's what you like. That's what it is. Yeah.
And I'm not referring to men as dogs, people out there.
No, we know what you mean. No, I guess in let me explain. When I was 8 years old, my mom was the one that like literally put the battery in my back. She literally told me like, you can do anything you want to do. You can be whoever you want to be. I believe in you. You're the best ever. And so like, that's a lot to tell an 8-year-old, but when you put it in that context, and then that 8-year-old buys in and believes it. So the confidence was like sky high at 8. So I don't want to say I didn't need it, but it wasn't something that like I sought or whatever. Like, of course, yeah. If I come in the house and I come in the house and everybody, oh, Dad, the grass looks great. You know, you did a good job cutting the grass, or, you know, the food that you cooked on the grill was slamming. Yeah, I mean, I like that. I'm not gonna sit here and say that.
Yeah, you have pride in the fact that you take care of your family,
course.
the fact that you provide for them. And whether or not you thought that you needed it or you need it now, your mother was the person that gave it to you.
Yes.
So, and she continues to stroke your ego. You do that
Yes.
as a parent, right? You are great. You was kind. You was smart. You was important. You do that, right?
Yes.
Because it instilled in you what it is and who you are today. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not that you didn't need it, because you might not be the person that you are today had your mother not given that to
No
you. So
question.
so you still need it. And even if you don't need it from a woman, or from a woman that you're romantically with, your wife or anything like that, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you do as a man notice if a person is not appreciative of what it is that you're bringing. After a while, you want to hear like, "Oh, daddy, oh my baby, you want to hear that now? Come on,
Oh
you
my
like a
gosh.
little treat, Kyle."
Trees. So we've learned a lot today. Oh my God. Listen, y'all, this has been fun. This is well, it's always fun. But again, I gotta thank these ladies for coming through. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get another rendition of We Did That Shit podcast. If not, I'll just bring them back on next month and we'll just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until they until they
Until we
come
get
back
it
for
together.
good.
Yes.
Right. So before we get out of here, Bibbi, you can start first. Tell folks where they can find you, where they can catch the podcast and all of that.
Oh, we did that shit podcast. We're on Apple, Google Play, Spotify, and I'm on Twitter at Bibbi and Mya. B as in boy, Bibbiamina.
And Maya.
Well, before I say where you can find us, I just want to say thank you,
Oh, no problem.
Kyle, for having us. You know, it's always a little treat when we can be on the 12 Kyle podcast. You know, we know, this has been great. I think that me and Babi needed this to be able to get our juices flowing again, and get back into the podcast. And you always invite us on, and we really appreciate it. We always have a ball with our podcast cousin. And as Babi
Yes.
said, you can find us anywhere you can listen to a podcast. We're on hiatus, but we still out there. We did that shit podcast. You can find us on all social media. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at We Did That Shit podcast. And you can follow me on my personal Twitter. I'm just as comical on there, as
Yes.
I am on this podcast. It's my13. It's MYMY13. And again, Kyle, thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank
No
you. This has
problem. No
been
problem,
great.
man. And it's funny. I meant to text you the other day. I thought I was. This was this past Saturday. I was flipping through channels, and I landed on Insecure,
Mm,
and it was the first scene where Condola comes into the picture.
mm.
And listen, if y'all want to laugh, if you really want to laugh, Maya and I did an episode talking about Insecure, and then we did a separate episode just talking about Condola.
Condola.
Listen, I might have said 5 words that whole episode. Maya took off from like the beginning, and it's like 30 minutes of Maya just going off on Condola. It was so funny. So go back and check that out. But yeah, like I said, when the time is right, whenever you guys are ready. I know, like you said, life does life, and but no, we'll be here. We'll be here. You guys have people who faithfully listen, and when you went away and came back, they were right there. We go, same thing will happen again. I'll be promoting the hell out of the podcast, tweeting and retweeting and reposting. But yeah, this has been fun. We definitely, even if you guys don't, we'll definitely do this again. And like I said, they've been on here before. If you go back in the catalog, I know we've done. I can't even. It's about 4 or 5 different episodes, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and they all have different comedic value, but also you get something from it too, and hopefully you guys did as well. So before we get out of here, let me explain where I am. The 12 Kyle podcast, you can find it every Thursday and every Sunday. A new episode drops every at midnight. I'm on all of the social media platforms: Twitter, X, Facebook, singchristianmingle.com.
And you better not be on no damn Christian mingle.
You can find me everywhere at Threads. And the podcast, you can find all podcast readers. We also just started a Reddit community. So if you want to have conversations, you can go over to the Reddit, just 12 Kyle Podcast. So we're a little bit of everywhere. And if you want to, we also offer merch. In the description box, you'll see a link. You can get 12 Kyle Podcast. Oh, yeah. Listen, okay. We got mugs.
Okay. Let them know.
We got mugs. We got T-shirts, hoodies, posters, you name it. We got it all for the low. So again, that's going to do it for us. So for my girls from the We Did That Shit podcast, Bibbi and Mya, thanks again for coming through. Again, I am your boy 12 Kyle. We'll catch you guys next time. 5,000.
Thank you for tuning in to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Share the podcast with a friend who needs the 12 Kyle podcast in their life. Every listen, every share, and every subscription helps us grow. So, go ahead, subscribe now and share it with a friend. Thanks for being a part of the 12 Kyle podcast community. We appreciate your support. 5,000.